Because nutrition is the base of the health pyramid and exercise is above that.
Right. So what's even more important is the kitchen. My cooking game is pretty shitty.
So, okay, I have my list here and I'm sure you have yours. I want to talk about tools and a pantry, but I want to know what you use every day when you cook.
Every day when I cook, so the one thing that I put on my list, which seems like an obvious one, but I kind of feel strongly about it,
Mm-hmm.
is I would say a medium size, or maybe it's just like the standard size, but it can't be too small, um, cast iron skillet.
Yes. Yep, that was on my list.
Okay, cool. So it seems like obvious to me, like obviously you need a frying pan, but I'm saying like at least a medium sized cast iron skillet because I cook literally everything in that.
Yeah.
I don't go into the oven. I don't pull out a bunch of fancy pots and pans. Like more or less, I cook everything in that.
So
Slight
on
exception.
on Amazon, and the one that I literally have is the Lodge cast iron Dutch oven. It's a two-piece.
Okay, perfect.
The top one is about the size of a frying pan, maybe an inch thick, and then the other one's like 3 inches thick, and they just go together. And it was honestly $30, and I have not replaced it, and I never will.
Perfect.
And what am I
So,
gonna do? Break it?
right, I know, right? So I use that and like, a rubber spatula that I use to like mix stuff around in there and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um,
I had silicone versus wood. So what else? We'll go through the rest of your list here.
silicone versus wood, what?
Spatula.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, interesting. I would say silicone. What would you say?
This is like it goes back to the jump rope. Both are so cheap.
Right, but this is minimalist.
Yeah. So
Two
I gotta go with wood.
Yeah?
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess you could probably do more with wood.
You can physically scrape a pan,
Exactly. You
and you
can't do that
can't.
with the rubber one. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're cooking there.
Yeah.
But
So we have the silicone spatula. We have the cast iron skillet.
yeah,
What else is on that list?
that's pretty much all that's on my list.
Okay. And I'm sure that you have a knife and a cutting board.
Knife for sure. I mean, I have a cutting board. I don't find myself using it that much, to be honest with you.
What do you
But
cut on?
so I eat a lot of rice and beans and pre-cut chicken, like it
Ah,
pre-cut in
got it.
a bag, or I'll eat fish. I had fish the other day. You don't really need to cut that.
Hmm.
Um,
So what I put down on this list is three couplets, if you will.
okay.
Three couplets. So the first was a chef's knife and a big and heavy cutting board. The bigger and heavier, the better, I promise you.
I think we'll talk about this in a second when I talk about YouTube, but I think you need the cutting board, and maybe you have this, that's big enough where you leave it out all the time. You just kind of clean it off, but you leave it out because there's no point in trying to put it in storage because it's so big. What do you think?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you have butcher block countertops, you don't even need that because you have a countertop.
There you go.
But please, for the love of God, don't cut on anything that's not a cutting board. And glass cutting boards are the worst. Get a wood one.
Glass cutting boards.
They're ancient, but they're out there. They're like ceramic or glass.
Oh, like a ceramic. I think I've seen ceramic ones.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I
just
don't know.
don't do that.
All right.
Okay, so a chef's knife, the question of which one doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you take it to a place to get sharpened for $15, it will come back and cut a piece of paper, and that is sharp enough. And I would recommend something around 8 inches, and the heavier the knife, usually the better if you're a beginner too, because you can feel the knife in your hand and you can feel the tilt and the angle and you can grab the handle. So you got a knife and a cutting board. I have this cutting board by the OCD Chef, and it has a grid and it has like a few different angles and some different types of cuts. So if I want to work on my cutting skills, I can just follow the ruler. I can make a 30-degree cut. I can julienne, or I can do, different kinds of cuts that has a template on it. So it's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a little small, and I leave it on top of my toaster, and it fits exactly on top of my 4-piece toaster. And then I just pull it down, and I don't cut any meat on it, just vegetables and grain, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Is there a reasoning to not cutting the meat on there?
So I don't like cutting meat on wood because the wood absorbs,
Soaks it in.
yeah, some of the juices.
Interesting.
They would probably tell me that it's fine and just wash it, but
That's what I would tell you too, but
yeah. So then, the first category is a knife and a cutting board. The second, I had a cast iron skillet as my number 1. And then as my number 2 option, it was a stainless steel pan, or number 3 would be a nonstick.
yeah. I do like nonsticks. I'm a huge fan of nonsticks.
Which one do you have?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a nonstick pan from the store. I don't really know.
Is it a ceramic? Is it a green, like a Teflon, a Tefal?
No, it's not that. I think it's like one of those stone ones. You ever heard of
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the popular brand one, but it's something like that, it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's small. It's a small one, so it doesn't do. It's kind of rough if you can barely fit like 5 eggs in there at max.
I hope the regular person is also eating 5 eggs, because that's how you should do breakfast.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's this one called, I believe it's called the green skillet, and that one works really well.
Familiar with that one.
So stainless steel sucks if you're not willing to learn to use it, just like cast iron.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I don't want to.
So when you put a piece of chicken on, if you try and pull it up right away, it will stick completely to the stainless steel skillet. If you let it cook the right amount of time, comes up super easily, and then you just flip it. So you have to actually pay attention. Versus something like a Tefal or a nonstick, you just slide it around the pan the whole time.
Yeah, I don't like to pay attention when I'm cooking.
It doesn't take too much to learn it, but you have to pay attention at the beginning. Otherwise, you're like, wow, literally everything sticks to a stainless steel pan.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining in my mind right now. Is everything.
Do you cook eggs in a cast iron skillet?
I have, not always. I mean, if I'm just cooking eggs, I'll pull out the nonstick. If I'm
I pretty much only cook eggs on a nonstick.
Yeah. Only if I were cooking I was heating up my chicken and rice and beans in the skillet, and if I wanted eggs also, I wouldn't get a new pan out. I'd just make it work.
That's a secret life pro tip we got there. Instead of throwing stuff in the microwave, throw it in the skillet for like 2 minutes. Way better.
That's like my whole life.
It's so much better.
I thought that was cooking. That's not cooking.
Yeah. People microwave it, but you make it in a big batch and you put it in the fridge, and instead of just throwing it in the microwave, you get a little that caramelization.
That's what I do.
Yeah, it's so much better.
100%.
Yeah. So then I had a pan. Cast iron's nice because it's super cheap and it's heavy and it holds a lot of heat, and you can have a bowl or you can have a pan. Then the third one was a stock pot and a silicone spatula or a wood spatula. That's your choice.
Nice.
You got to be able to make some soup. I'm sorry?
What's a stock pot?
Think of what you'd boil rice in.
Oh, okay. I just use a pot, like a regular pot.
With like a handle to the side?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm talking minimalist, the stock pot's 8 quarts, handle on each side with a lid. It doesn't even need to have that fancy strainer thing because I literally never use that ever.
Gotcha.
But it's nice because you can take bones, put them in the stock pot, boil water, add salt, and then you have stock to save some waste. Yeah, and that's like super rich in gelatin, or it basically turns into like Jello, but it's savory Jello.